Hello, I'm Richard Ridge. Transport Group presents the world premiere of Queen of the Mist, the new musical by Michael John LaChiusa. Under the direction of Jack Cummings III, it stars Mary Testa and will open on November 6th.
The oaken barrel was cast adrift into waters so cold and swift, 8,000 feet above the brink of the fall. Uncrossed the rebel, moonlight the shores, gamblers and saints. Would she survive, or would she sink in the
We had done First Lady Suite together, a revival the company had, and a meeting together, Michael, John, Mary, and I. You know, she had a leading role in that, actually. And so we all got to know each other. And then I discovered, you know, for myself, the character of Anna Edson Taylor in history. And I thought, oh, I'd never heard of this woman. This is kind of a thrilling thing that she did. And the ending was so sad, how she didn't have any money at the end and didn't get what she wanted. But I was really struck by her age. She was 63 when she did this, and I thought it would make a great musical. And I thought, as I learned more about this character, I thought, oh, Mary Testa is the only person I can think of to play this. So I went to Michael John with this idea, and he already knew about Anna Edson Taylor because he'd grown up in Buffalo and was a real enthusiast. And so he's like, I know all about her. And he said, I think it would be perfect for Mary too. And then we just kind of got to work, you know, from that point forward. So I kind of stumbled upon her accidentally.
I love what I heard here today. Talk about just what Michael's done with his score in the book.
Well, I think his score is so beautiful because he has combined a very Americana feel, and then there's some especially with Mary, has some solo stuff, especially like in the second act, that is very modern and very psychologically complex. And so it's the two kind of voices complementing each other and interacting with each other that is really special, and I think kind of a different approach for him.
Jack Cummings came to me and said he was going to create a project called the American Century Project, which would be 10 decades of American work. And he came to me and he said, would you like to write a musical based on Annie Edson Taylor, the woman who went over the falls in a barrel? And I said, oh, I know that character because I grew up in that area and I was very familiar with it. And he said, and would you like to write it for Mary Testa? And of course I said instantaneously, of course I would. So Jack came up with the idea and I dove right into it and wrote it for my dear friend Mary, who's been a collaborator and friend of mine for many years. And it's been a lot of fun to put it together for her and write for her.
Is it easy when you're writing for a friend and you hear her style and her voice in your head?
Sometimes it's very, very easy. Sometimes it's not, because you also want to, give the actor a challenge and put them to places where they're not normally used to going to. In this particular case, I have a lot of mix in it. Mary's known for her great belt, and I have to give her those notes because that's what's expected as well. But there's also beautiful other timbres in her voice too. And because she is such a terrific comedian, she's also a really good actress, and I like to explore those things too in song as well. Those other levels that she has as an actress. It's been fun writing that.
The types like you talk a real smooth game. Types like me, we call your bluff. I've had enough of cockamamie schemes and death-defying dreams. Types like you need to sell. It takes all types, but types like you can go
I play Anna Edson Taylor's agent. Anna Edson Taylor was the first woman to go over Niagara Falls in a barrel and live. And it's a true story. They had a very complex professional, personal relationship, obviously doing something as dramatic as this. And what's interesting is true story. The things necessary to do to make money off of this, what she was doing, she was unwilling to do after she did it for some odd reasons that we explore in the show. And so he stole her barrel and went on the road without her to make money off of her name, and which obviously led to some complications and and some beautiful scenes later on in the show. So it's a really fun kind of different relationship to explore. So
Talk about Michael John's score.
yeah, Michael John, he's so very Michael John in the way he writes, but he also writes for the time period that all of his shows take place in, and this is 1901 and early Americana and marches and old traditional American standards and all these things that are infused into his music, and he wrote the lyrics and the book, and it's kind of a remarkable accomplishment that he's written this show. It's one of the most beautiful shows that I've ever worked on, so it's really exciting.
Well, I play a bunch of different roles. Sort of the big role that I play in Act 2 is Carrie Nation, who was a real person as well as Miss Anna, and she was she was part of the temperance movement. She was very against alcohol, and she used to say that she was a little bulldog barking along at the feet of Jesus. She was like that, and her kind of the thing that she was really known for was she would go into random drinking establishments with a hatchet and just start chopping it up. Just because she could, because she was like that. And she becomes sort of, in Act 2, she and Anna meet in the vaudeville circuit. And she's sort of the one person who really comes up against, Anna finds her way to bulldoze over everyone else, but Carrie's the one who's like, no ma'am.
Beautiful score. Tell me what you love about Michael's score in this.
Well, what I love, as a singer, what's awesome about singing his kind of music is it's so difficult that you feel like, huzzah, when you get it right, which, hasn't entirely happened yet because we're still learning it, but his lyrics are so extraordinary, but they're so hard, and they'll change up here and there, and so you're sitting there going, click, 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 what is this one, what is this one, and accompanied with a lot of the quintet of us, we sing a lot of very tight 5-part harmony, nobody's doubling anybody else a lot of the time, and so it's just very exciting to, when you nail it, to go, oh, because he heard that, and that came out of his hands, and then we finally get to deliver it back to him, and that's very, very satisfying to get to do.
We are physically fit, our bodies are strong, our hearts palpitate at the absolutely correct number of beats per minute. And why? Because we maintain our physique. And because we maintain our physique, our minds stay sharp and alert. We pay attention. I went to study in New Haven for my degree and teaching degree in physical education. All I did was exercise. And my mind and body forged a partnership. I speak 7 languages. 7. How many do you speak? Oh, never mind. I am certain you speak in many different tongues because you can. You are physically fit, therefore mentally fit. Men appreciate it. Even at my age, men appreciate me, and I intend to keep it that way. And I may also compliment you in the appreciative glances you have been receiving of late from that handsome Mr. Colby. Oh, he is a man's man. With a discerning eye and a hearty, manly handshake. And great. No wonder other men are jealous of your dear old Mr. Gumstock must be too. Oh, he must be, for Mr. Colby is a fine specimen.
Mrs. Taylor! Pay your rent, or I and Mr. Colby... I and Mr. Gumstock will have to make you leave.
It was Jack's idea. That Jack had come across this book about this woman had written about Anna Edson Taylor, and it's kind of in poetry form. And he said, we were in Williamstown doing See What I Want to See, which was then called Arshaman. And he said, Michael John, I want you to read this book. And he gave it to me, and he said, I think this would be a great musical, and I think this would be great for Mary. So I read the book in Williamstown, and literally, and I'm not exaggerating, I cried for 3 days. There was something about the story that just sort of hit me. And then Michael John took it, and they had several meetings, I guess, and ran with it and wrote it and honed it, and here we are. We did a workshop of it last October, and this is it. I'm so excited. I can't even stand it.
So I remember going to Niagara Falls as a kid, and my parents told me there was this woman, a very famous woman who, went over the falls, and she survived.
Yeah.
We kept looking down and saying, how could this woman have survived,
Well, the genius about her was that she figured out how to make a barrel that would protect her. I mean, she didn't just have a barrel made. She really mapped the whole thing out. She was not of her time. She had a mind that was incredibly scientific and advanced, and yet sort of didn't fit in society and didn't fit in with anybody. She really had no one. Her husband had died early. Apparently she had a son that died like 3 or 6 days after he was born. So there's like a depth of sadness to her and an isolation already. And then she ran out of options and ran out of money and had to come up with something. So the fact that she thought of this and that she figured out how to do it is astounding. And in that day and age, when women really had no say or no voice, it's really a phenomenal story.
And just talk about, Michael John wrote everything, the book, the lyrics, the music. Talk about the beautiful score.
Well, the score is spectacular. It's very Americana. It's, I think, one of his more accessible scores, if you want to call it that. I think all his scores are gorgeous and genius, but a lot of people complain, I don't have it too. But it's a gorgeous pastiche of Americana music, and there are gorgeous ballads and kind of ragtime sounds and a little honky-tonk, and there's a little bit of everything. I'm not very good at describing the musical styles because I just go, oh, it's all gorgeous, but it is all gorgeous. It really is all gorgeous. Yeah.
If a woman dares to think like a man, she is labeled insane. If a woman dares to act like a man, she's a grief in